Last minute.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go, go, go,
Top of the morning to y'all. This is Michelle.
Good morning, Michelle.
Hi.
Good morning, Michelle.
Hi, Jennifer. I saw Chad Free. Let's see, Jasmine, Jennifer, Jacqueline, John Hart, Patricia. Oh my goodness, Paul, and our reading minutes, Rika. Thank you, Rika, Sherry, Stephanie, and Wendy. Well, I don't know what's going on with Zoom this morning. I apologize for I've been here and I can't see anybody, but it's really weird. Uh, uh, I I can only see like one person and I have no notes as far as who's there. So you're gonna have to reach out and let me know uh, if you can't hear me. The only thing I can really see is the chat. But welcome to another Friday. This is the 1 year anniversary of Author's Edition of Figure It Out Friday. And so I'm so excited about this time. And Chad, I see that you're going out and about, but feel free to pop in when you can. This all started because I was an author and I experienced a lot of things with my first book. I didn't have a coach that helped me through going through and getting my first book published. And I just really didn't know what to do. And then COVID hit, and I put it on the shelf for a year. And then after a year, there are a lot of things that happened in my life. I had to change my mindset because one day God said to me in my morning worship, Michelle, what are you going to do with this book that I gave you? And it was like he had the book up next to me, and I went, oh my gosh, it's there. I have about 1,000 copies that I've not done anything with, and I do not have a clue um, on what to do. And um, it was like he said that he was the person that was going to get me to people, and that's how I met Coach uh, Mike, um, and also Coach Tim Story. So I'm so glad that it also brought me together with each one of you, and we'll go from there. Uh, when I talked to Brock last year, and I won't go into the whole story of how Brock and I met, but I was talking to him and I said, there's something that new authors really need, and they need encouragement to write a book. They need to know that there are things that have to be done in order to uh, keep away from there are a whole bunch of people that want to take your money for whatever reason. Oh, we can help you market it here. We can help you market it here. Oh, that will just be $5,000, and we'll be happy to take your money and run. And many times I experienced some bad things, but I experienced some really good things out of it too. One of the things that I remember the most, that was the biggest highlight, is I did get my um, billboard on Times Square, and that was a story in itself. So when I talked to Coach Brock, I said, this is something that I'd like to do. And he said, is this something you want to do by yourself or with somebody? And I went, I really didn't think about it. And um, so it turned out this Figured Out Friday was the perfect spot for both of us. And I'm still trying to get everybody on, and I have no idea what the deal is, but bear with me. Uh, Zoom has worked perfectly for me every day up until this morning. So I don't know. The first person that I had on was our coach, Brock Zevan. And it was really interesting because I did not give him an inkling of an idea of what we were going to talk about. And it was on his book, Turning Scripts into Conversations. So you probably can't see me because I don't see that I can see me. But there were some takeaways from his book, and it was basically asking questions. And a lot of times I find that I don't ask enough questions. But not only ask the questions, when you ask questions to validate them, maybe say something that's crazy. Tell me more. It's an interesting way of pulling information out of people and then giving them notice that I hear what you're saying. Thank you for sharing with me. And that helps to build confidence in the relationship that you're trying to build with that person. So it brings clarity into the steps that you need to go ahead. And I don't know if anyone was on that initial meeting with Brock, but feel free to unmute yourself. Again, I can't see a whole bunch, but if you unmute yourself, I'd be more than happy to. Uh, I'd be more than happy to answer your questions or bring the thing together. The very next author that we had was our own Chad Free. Hey, Chad, how are you this morning?
I'm good. I'm fantastic. How are you, Michelle?
Well, oh, I see you now. It's just really, it's very unsettling when you're the main speaker and nothing seems to be working. So I I appreciate the struggles that you've had in the past. But we had your initial book in September 20th of last year, and then in July we launched your second edition of the book. And one thing that popped out on this was mindset and money revolution, and it tags in appropriately with mindset motivation that Brock has for his speaker series and that type of thing. And I thought it was really interesting that you had it from not a real estate or a personal perspective, but more from a money and wealth revolution perspective. Would you like to say anything about your experiences with Figure It Out Friday and Authors Edition, either from you being on the podcast or maybe recommendations for further authors to come on board?
Yeah, I'll share a little bit. I tell you, this is truly a Figure It Out Friday because I got to tell you something funny real quick. I came on this morning. I was just gonna listen. See, I ain't had my hair fixed up or nothing like that. Hadn't shaved yet, and so I hear Rika say, "Chad, can you hear me, Chad?" And I didn't see Rika. I'm just waiting for it to come on. I'm just gonna listen in this morning. Chad, are you there? And I'm like, she's talking to me. Yeah, I'm here. She said, we got a problem. I don't think Michelle is gonna make it right off the front, but she'll be there eventually. Can you just open up and lead for a minute? And I about knocked my wife down saying, I gotta lead. Let me go get a hat. So anyway, this is truly a Figure It Out Friday. We gonna figure this thing out, Michelle. But yeah, let me talk to you about my experience with the book. The book, you opened up with facts. There are people out there that will take advantage of you, that will take you down a road that you didn't expect, and you're looking for the exit. Where's the exit ramp on this deal? Where's the exit ramp on this relationship? Because you keep getting invoices and invoices and invoices. And so you do have to be careful who you use. However, I believe that everybody's got a story and a book inside of them. Their story truly matters. And I do believe that our past can help somebody else's future. And things that we go through is literally just equipping us to help that next person. And so the Mindset and Money Revolution was the first book. And what I did is I decided, when you have a mindset and money revolution, that equals a wealth revolution. And you hear me talk about true wealth as an abundance of everything you value. So the reason for that second edition, I'm going to give a shout out to Becca Black. She is amazing, and she helped me through that process. It was so easy. It was very inexpensive. But I wanted my brand to be consistent across the board. I didn't want people to think of me this way, that way, this way, that way. I got a book called Wealth Revolution. I just completed my Wealth Revolution Challenge that I'm going to be having monthly. I will have a coaching program called the Wealth Revolution. So everything was intentionally congruent with that. And it's just easier from a branding standpoint. But yeah, I think this is a great deal. I would challenge you that you should have a meeting with somebody. You can talk to me, Michelle, Brock, or even Becca Black. Hey, I'm interested in writing a book. What does that look like? Because people need to hear your story. Let me tell you something, and I'm going to shut up after this, Michelle. But if your story helped one person, is that not worth it? That's my intentions. If it transforms or takes part of a transformation in somebody's life to where they can be a better dad, a mom, a husband, a wife, grandma, grandpa, whatever. If they can, if my book can plant a seed for that to happen, that's fulfillment on my end. And I may not ever realize it, but I don't have to worry about the outcome. I just have to do what I'm called to do. And writing a book was one of those things.
And it's amazing. My book came out right before COVID hit, and then I started marketing it somewhat a year later. And I will meet up with people who have either bought my book, or I've given so many books away, that and used it as seed in their lives, and they'll come back to me later, and they're people that I least expect for them to even completely have read the book, and they'll tell me, how that really helped me this day. And I like what you said. If your story helped one person, wasn't it worth it?
Yep.
It's a lot of work. One person asked me, "Well, you've written a book, you published it. Are you going to write another one?" And I went, "Been there, done that. I don't think I want to go through all that pain again." But Chad, you did, and I'm proud of you for it. So let me just go. It's we're at the half-hour mark, and we had Lisa Galloway on. She was self-published. She wrote on financial fortitude. So there's another thing. She calls herself a financial concierge. So she's another financial person. She's very active in veterans type work. And then we had Derek Green, and we got to learn a lot about Derek Green when we were going through his book, Exploring the ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experience Study. We got to get to know a lot about his background. And one of the things he said is to live in the present. And if there's some action in your life that you do not want, accept that it is your responsibility to change it. And many times, people who get stuck think that they need someone else to change their life. But what we learn and what is so important about this group, Chad, is the fact that we have our cohort of people, if you will, but we have somebody, we know a guy. I know a guy I can call. I know Chad Free, or I know Brock, or I know Wendy, or Danair, or Diane. We have a connection, but ultimately it's our responsibility to reach out and make the changes that we need. So from Derek's, we went to, I believe it was Frank McKinney, and we had Frank on December 11th, and he was a wealth of information. Matter of fact, we ran out of time, and people were so interested in hearing what he had to say. We went through his book, Aspirational Thoughts, Inspirational Images, and his hard copy book, and even I read the Audible version, or actually the Kindle version, and he had links and QR codes that you can hook on. So it was like a three-dimensional book if you could have one. And it was really, really interesting. And uh, here's this word again. He indicated mindset precedes results every time. Producing results reinforces the mindset that will put you on the path of realizing the aspirations that give your life meaning and purpose. Chad, there's your purpose. you know, we have such a connection in these people that, I mean, initially, my thought for this program was to encourage people in our cohort, our authors in the cohort. And Frank was the first one that Brock actually brought on. He had met, and who is outside of our cohort, and really above, I would say above. He's got 9 best-selling books, so he's kind of been experienced in the book world, if you have it. And it just knocked my socks off that he would be on my little podcast. You just never know. And then we invited him back. In February, but I didn't want to miss Rebecca Black. We brought her on in January to talk about publishing a book, and we have our own experts, like Chad said, that she will take you through what needs to happen. She will be your publisher. She will encourage you, and that was such an outstanding thing. And then in February, as I mentioned, we brought Frank back, and you just can't meet Frank on a half an hour basis, but we had invited him back to teach us how to write a book. And he met with us, and it was a special 1 hour, and it was from idea to impact. And the takeaway from that 1 hour was take action on your book. And he challenged us to write our book. Everybody has a story. Chad said it, Brock said it, Derek said it, Rebecca said it. And how many people have said, yeah, I want to write a book, but what have you done in order to start? That's a pause for effect right there. It just starts with a little bit. And you've heard the saying, it seems like a big elephant's in front of me. How do you need an elephant? Well, one bite at a time. When I wrote my book, first of all, I didn't set out to write a book. I was just sending encouraging words out every morning in a text message. And after a 5-year period of collecting these messages, there was enough material for a book. And it just took 15 minutes a day. Yes, it was over a 5-year period, but if you just start, that's the big thing. You have to take action, as Rebecca says, and in order to get things going. And from there, we also, let's see, that was February. Then John Hart threw another recommendation our way, which completely caught me off guard. Amberly Lago, that he had met at one point in time, and I started ghosting her and to find out about her book, which is Joy Through the Journey, Shift Your Mindset. Again, that word comes up. Embrace your present moment, cultivate your resilience in life's ups and downs. So it's an encouraging word. She had 34 operations after being in a tragic, tragic auto accident. And she today is in constant pain, but she overcomes it by setting her mindset and her priorities. You know, creating a daily routine, taking it one day at a time. And the key takeaway to her book is shift your thinking, embrace that joy cannot coexist with pain. You know, and pain comes in a lot of different ways. Some's physical, some's mental, emotional, financial. But if we take it one day at a time and change our mindset, we can go from there. And then very quickly, we go to, we had Todd Harris, one of our own, Road to a Million. We had Harlan Nicola with home equity and reverse mortgages, a topic that many people still don't know enough about. And Chad, once again, thank you for hopping on with me and helping with that, because if anybody has any questions, Chad and I can direct you to Harlan quite easily. And then I had been at an event. I had another top name speaker and podcast host, Jordan Mendoza, and he wrote about the life changing power of adversity and how to overcome struggles, mindset, and overcoming. And he said, adversity is life's greatest teacher if you let it be. And there's a mindset shift facing and growing from adversity. You know, so I guess what I'm saying, it appears that we're on the right track, encouraging mindset, encouraging purpose in our lives. And I'm so excited. And then after that is when, in July, when we had you back on again to celebrate a year from your book, your first book being published, and the launch of your second book. So today, gosh, we're getting very close. I'm going to challenge you. I thought we'd have time for questions, we might, but one of the things that I want to say is, what is your story? Have you started to write? And I don't know if you have or haven't, but I would encourage you to do so. As Chad said, he's available. I'm available. I'm sure Brock and I know Miss Rebecca is available. We would love to help you get that first book going, even to start the first maybe chapter. And I have a little tidbit for everybody. And if everybody's interested, I've sent out an email to Frank McKinney's admin to see if he'd be available in December to follow up with us. I know Christian has started writing a book. I know there's several others have started things out, and I know we had Chad. I know Derek has some things that are coming out as well. And so the challenge that Frank gave us is everybody should by December be able to have written a book. So I really would like to say, hey, we have 30 people that have started writing their book. and we have 10 books that have been published and blah blah blah. So we can do it, but we have to take action. Hey Chad, anything as we get ready to close?
No, I think that's it. Look, I'll tell you, I didn't go up to the hills by myself with a little candle and a feather and write my book. Okay. I promise you that. So, literally, I'm going to just quickly share how easy it can be. You write down about 7 or 8 big things that ever happened in your life or that you're passionate about or whatever, and you could turn that into a chapter. All right. And then in each one of those, just start talking about it. Talk about that deal. Record yourself. Talk about it. Now you got a transcription of that whole chapter that you just talked about. Then go to the next one and just start talking about that. Talk about that. And the cool thing with Becca is, like, if you need more content, she might ask you a question. Well, what do you said this, but what happens if this happens? And then you can just start talking about that. So basically, you're writing your book. Once it's transcribed, it can be put in a very um, smooth, interpretable manner. I don't know if I said that right, but a way that somebody can read and digest what you just talked about. You don't have to go again and just start writing with piles of paper and all of that. Just start talking about it. Get your story out there. So it's not that hard at all. Some people want to write the whole thing and journal. That's fine too. There's different ways to do it. But don't be held back because of something that you think or assume it might be like. It's really a very easy and enjoyable experience when you're working with the right people. So that's what I would say.
Well, thank you, Chad. This has been an incredible year. If anyone is interested in writing a book and needs help, reach out to me, reach out to Chad, reach out to Rebecca. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to help you. And I'm excited. I guess it sounds like people are still interested in keeping this going. So uh, let's do another year. How about it, Chad? Okay, thank you. Top of the day to everybody. And we're looking for another Monday with Maxwell and our own Brock Zevan coming up on Monday. So have a great weekend, y'all. Love you guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.